Hey guys, welcome back to ArtosisCasts. Today we have in the top right the best Terran player in the world. It is Light. And his opponent in the bottom right, one of the very best Protosses ever, it's BeSt. So this is Light, who is the best Terran and probably the best at each matchup since Flash is not officially back. And we have BeSt, who's probably, I would say, number 2 in Protoss vs. Terran overall, although he's a little bit stubborn with how he plays. I think his general gameplay is second best to Snow in this matchup. It's just he should probably play best of fives a little bit different than how he does it. For any of you who have watched ASL recently, I think you're going to know what I mean. Like when he lost to Mind doing like the same build like 5 games in a row or something. It was like, come on, Mind's smart. He's figuring out what you're doing. Anyways, should be an excellent game because these two are just such high level players. We are on, though, one of the worst maps that you still see games on. It's going to be Fighting Spirit. Always shocked that this map is not vetoed by these pros. Gives me an aneurysm to play the thing. It is just gross and old. We have such better versions now. You know, like, for instance, Retro is a remade version that's much more modern and much more playable. Still, like, a hard map to play, but yeah, there's a lot wrong with Fighting Spirit. Anyways, I'll stop complaining about Fighting Spirit for now. And thank you guys for checking out ArtosisCasts, for giving those likes, for, you know, just leaving a comment. It's always very helpful. Subscribing to the channel is fantastic. Makes me feel good. And yeah, just for checking it out each day. Really do appreciate it. I'm so glad when I hear about this being part of your daily routine, whether you're watching it with your coffee in the morning or with dinner at night on a lunch break, you know, anywhere like that. I'm always very happy to hear that. And yeah, honestly, my plan is to keep this channel going forever. So we'll have a hell of a lot of StarCraft here over time. Well, I guess there already is, truly. I'm not even sure how many games I've casted for this channel, but I would say it's over 1,000 at this point. But anyways, they've scouted each other. Scout each other first, so that definitely makes it a little bit different. These are very close by ground spawns. So, you know, definitely there's pressure that can be put on. BeSt is making a Zealot to open. Light here, you know, he's checking to see if a Zealot pops out. Like, that's part of what his SCV's job is right now. And he does make a Marine. We'll see exactly how many Marines he wants to end up making. 3 in a Vulture is generally pretty normal. He sees this now and immediately starts a secondary Marine. I think what I saw there, so he's probably going to make a bunker relatively quickly, but he might need to go 4 Marines because I think this bunker just barely doesn't get up if he starts it right now. Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing, right? Because like 3 Marines and a Vulture hold, like if you micro it correctly, kind of hold against like Zealot Goon Probe. You probably need to make another unit there when that's happening, especially if you don't micro it just right. But here he is going to have 3 Marines when that hits. And yeah, there's that 4th Marine. I've seen a lot of pro gamer Terrans doing this where they skip the 3rd depot but make this Marine. But it gives you kind of this prolonged supply block. Like, see, he starts the command center. Okay, so the command center is a little bit faster. And he's going to come down and... Is he going to make the bunker? I'm not entirely sure. But he definitely needs... Like, see, he started this add-on, so unless he loses units, he can't make anything out of the factory when the add-on's done. I don't know. I'm not a fan, and I know Light is, like, the best, but I feel like if you make this depot than that command center, I am completely sure it's better, better, like, at least 50% of the time. And I think it might be higher than that, honestly, based on the games that I cast. Like, anyways, it doesn't matter. It's whatever. Light is fantastic, gets that down. In the meantime, we have Dragoons being made. You know, the Nexus is almost done here. Command Center is just slightly behind that, getting some mines as well. Very, very standard way to play. Get those quick mines. They give you, like, a lot of flexibility. And he's actually going for a starport, a very fast starport here. There is a robo on the way. It's hard to say whether the starport is actually going to get damaged. Now, one thing about Fighting Spirit, if you take a look, see this dark area to the right-hand side of the screen? You can fly a dropship there, and they aren't going to see it till it pops here, right? So in these spawns, bringing a dropship down the side can be very strong. Now, that being said, sometimes a Protoss will throw a pylon up here. That'll eventually die, so some people don't do that. But oftentimes when you get the Observer, well, you can clear the mines, but sometimes people just send it right up the side to try to see if a dropship's coming. So I think either way can be good. And in fact, look at this. 3-gate robo. Okay, so BeSt here is giving himself... now, this is Fighting Spirit. Okay, I have so many competing ideas going through my head right now that I want to talk about. But so here's a few things. First off, against mine openers, 3-gate Observer, sometimes you can go punish. Because you get the Observer out, and like siege mode is kind of late, especially when you're getting speed like light is. So there is the possibility of a counterattack. But also because we're on Fighting Spirit and close spawns, it's more likely to see some sort of pressured push come out. With BeSt going 3-gate Observer, he has enough production that he won't die to anything that comes basically in this early game. So he's got a ton of units here, just kind of sitting in a very protective stance on this bridge. We have the 3 vultures waiting. Is it just going to be 3? He has a 4th here. Looks like he is going to send this up and around. And there's the dropship. Okay, so now we get to see if this actually does any damage. Look at this. The timing of BeSt is immaculate. He sends these 2 dropships there. The pylon is for spotting. He sees the dropship coming in. And look at this. 3 goons in the main base. He's going to be able to pick off that dropship very quickly, it seems. And actually, does he get it? Yeah, he gets it. And let's see. No probe kills! That probe got into the geyser at the last possible second there. Okay, there's 1, 2. Okay, he only kills 2. Now 2 more run in. 2. Okay, he kills about 4 probes for a dropship and 5 vultures. So that was not that good. Definitely feels like he should have been able to get more. But he does like tie up the probe count, probe versus SCV count. So that's kind of nice. 3rd base being taken here by BeSt. BeSt is going to go out and clear everything out. So he blocks it reasonably well. The one thing we can mention, though, is that when you do a dropship build like this, you're very low on units, right? So, like, I would say probably 100% of the time after a dropship opener, you have to go into 5 factory as Terran before your 3rd command center. It's just you have so few units. You've spent so much money getting that out and delayed your factories quite a bit. So that's kind of the normal way to do it. So you see siege mode is almost done. He's getting a siege tank. He has 3 here and actually will come out and punish, but he'll lose one of his tanks at least. So BeSt actually getting some parity for those Dragoons. SCV out across the map. Oh, dude, is he going to hide an expansion here? That's a possibility. That could be a wild, wild idea. Look at that. Okay, so what did I just tell you? You always will see the 5 factory before the 3rd command center. That's because if you build this here, this observer sees it, and Protoss attacks you, and you lose it. Not right this second, but like you can see, right? The army count's going to be very low. BeSt's macro is going to hit it, like kick in. Basically what you see here is very even, and you're going to see BeSt skyrocket ahead of light for a bit. So this hidden base is super, super, super sneaky. You don't expect this as BeSt, and we actually already have missile turrets up, so BeSt can't see the factory count. The factories oftentimes are all made in this area, and since he can't see, he doesn't know. He probably just assumes it's 5 factory, and that's part of why he's going up into the 6 gates plus Reavers now. If you're on 3 bases, like BeSt is here, and you go 6 gateway, speed shuttle with Reavers, a 5 factory just won't kill you. Like, I mean, this is when what we're talking about is when control is basically equal on the sides, right? The 5 factory player should not be able to beat that. You should be able to hold on relatively easily. And if you parry it or you see them expand, you can take a 4th base, then a 5th base pretty quickly. Now, either way, gets his secondary dropship came out. It actually sometimes helps if you lose the first dropship because they don't expect the second. Gets some vultures in here and will kill a few probes. Kills a few probes and gets the dropship out. That's kind of the more important part. But losing those additional vultures, 4 more vultures gone. Like his army count is low. You can see now BeSt is starting to peek up above him a bit, about 15 supply up. It'll continue to get to be a bigger difference for a little bit. A lot of zealots coming out here for BeSt now. Light just consistently making SCVs. He's got to make sure that he maximizes this base. I've seen some really interesting things that have made me think about hidden bases. And so one of them would be like, how many SCVs do you actually want here? First off, you can't transfer because they'll see that. So you just build SCVs on location for this base. But you definitely want at least 1 per patch. I would say no more than 2 per patch. But yeah, I think even if you do, like, let's see, how many patches do we have here? We have 8. So I would say, like, you know, 12 SCVs at least or so. And you just kind of let it sit there and it'll pay for itself actually surprisingly quickly. And even when they come and they find it, like if they find it and you send your SCVs and float the command center somewhere real quick, oftentimes you can save a lot of what's there. So there can definitely be some value over time. Now, a couple of Reavers sitting outside, light starting to spread out. This is kind of the position you start to take when you're getting ready to take a third base. As we can see, there is no third command center being made. I think that's a really smart play by Light. I think if Light just goes up to like 7 factories here, he's going to feel really good about that. If he goes like 7 factories and takes like a position like this, right? So here, I'm going to zoom out to try to show you guys, right? So this base is really close to BeSt, and he has Reavers. So if Light tries to take this base, it's incredibly hard to take this base in these spawns because Reavers will sit there. And yeah, there's like a little bit of harassment. None of this really matters. But Reavers will sit there. Dragoons will sit there. It'll be very hard to take. But because he has the hidden base, if he goes like 7 factories or so, and right now he's getting up to 7. We'll see if he goes more than that. If he goes 7 factories, pushes out slowly, and takes this area, right? So then you have this thin area you could attack from. You could walk way around to this area to try to attack. But there are some doodads there and stuff, and there is buildable terrain for turrets and whatnot. Or you could try to go through the center, right? But if you hold this general area, what that does is it allows you, if Protoss gets way out of position, like if they're going to send everything over here, you can actually just attack down south very quickly. This is not far. From here to here is not far. And if you have this position, you're going to probably win the game. Okay? Also, when you're here, you can take this as a base instead of this. There's a lot of very good, very smart things about the way that Light is playing this. Light right now, yeah, he finishes his 7th fact. He's actually adding an 8th factory as well. He's got a science facility, getting more upgrades. So 2-1 is on the way, about halfway done. Does start to push over here. We still don't have the command center being made. Maybe he wants to sell that he's going to be taking a 3rd, right? Like this. This is late, though. There might be alarms going off in BeSt's head. You want your 3rd base up by 12 minutes, so this is a very late timing. Now he's bringing his units over, setting them up in a very nice position. Here comes those speed Reavers. Ooh, gets a hit there from the siege tank. Really well placed. And, you know, Light is taking over this high ground as quickly and efficiently as really you could ever expect. But with the double speed shuttle coming in with Zealots, this could ruin things. Now he throws a defense matrix down. More vultures come in to help clean this up. And you can see the hard position that BeSt has made for Light trying to take this. And look at that. Like, he clears that high ground very, very quickly. Going to send all these Zealots down kind of to their death, but they're actually going to end up getting... Oh my god, I can't believe 1 health siege tank ends up living right there. But as you can see, like, very, very difficult to actually breach this area. And if he had been ready for it, it would have been even worse for Light. But Light has his 3rd base up and mining right now. Look at that. He's got 10 SCVs for minerals, 3 on gas. So we're up at about 13 or so. You know, continuing those upgrades. It looks like 2-1 is just about to finish. That +2 attack almost done. And still trying to push up here. But again, I got to say, I really do think if he would go out and take this area, this is much wider. He could have taken this more easily. And then you just kind of forget about this for a bit, you know? This base, it's not like Protoss is ever going to take that. So, like, you could maybe take that later on. Think about taking this base. Have potential to attack down to the south, that type of thing. Because BeSt is sitting here, and he doesn't have sick late-game tech, right? It's not like he's going Arbiter or Carrier yet. He's just kind of on speed shuttles. Yeah, he's getting into High Templars here for Size Storm, so that's great, and there's nothing wrong with that. But no huge kill potential or anything. Now, BeSt coming out here. And by the way, BeSt is on 55 probes, so he actually thinks Light is on 2 base, right? You would never be on 55 probes here if you thought that Light had a 3rd base up in mining. So he's just like, yeah, well, if I stop this push, I win because you don't have a 3rd, which just couldn't be further from the truth. So Light's gamble of that 3rd base has paid off so significantly at this point. It's insane. Now here comes BeSt. Light should be able to hold this relatively easily. Out comes some High Templars. Let's see. That's an excellent storm on that front line. That's a very good storm as well. Some more good storms on those vultures, but he's got to pull back. As soon as your zealots are gone, you must pull back. Because as you see, the zealots died, and then we lost like 10 dragoons there. So definitely a little bit late on the pullback there from BeSt. Light continues to push forward. Good amount of units grouped up in the natural of BeSt here. He does have a little bit more army supply, but we've got 2 on upgrades. The push continues. And remember what I said, if you take this area, it's going to be very good for Terran, very bad for Protoss. Up come those zealots again. Drops his Reavers out here, but the defense matrix does a great job. Eats up a bunch of shots. Ooh, zealots getting into the siege tanks now. A big move there by BeSt. And, oh, he will just barely get out with those Reavers. So reduces the siege tank count, like, pretty substantially, but that's still a pretty healthy count. Brings down some more units here as well. Ooh, very good Scarabs. Picks off another tank. It's going to back up a little bit here. Light maybe going a little bit too quickly. Maybe if he takes his time and pushes in a bit more slowly. Basically, if BeSt loses one more army attacking in and doesn't clear this, Light should be able to win the game. Now, the Reaver going around the side, I think he's starting to think of this of, like, what's going on here? Maybe he has 12, right? He hasn't scouted 12 in a long time. I think that's where he's going. Maybe he'll even try a drop here. I'm not entirely sure. But, yeah, Light right now has finally set this base up, is continuing to push forward. The timing of this base is okay for a 4th, but he is running out of his money everywhere. The shuttle coming back, and yeah, okay, so his DT actually walked up here and found this. So now he realizes what Light has done to him. Drops those Reavers off to try to catch the running away, the fleeing SCVs, and away he'll float the command center. Like I said, right, you can actually save a lot of that. And you might think, well, damn, why don't people do it more often? Because if you do it often at all, you'll get super punished for it. And if it gets found, you're kind of screwed. Like, imagine if BeSt had found this right before it finished. Light is so far behind. How do you come back from there, right? It would be like worst case scenario. It's better to find it at the beginning, or you know, not find it for a while, obviously, is the best. Now, down comes Light. He's spreading this out. He's got mines in front. He's got a ridiculous siege line. He's got enough Goliaths here that's going to be really hard to get those shuttles up and close to the siege tanks. Those, along with turrets, going to make it really hard for BeSt to have the right type of engagement. BeSt does have these other bases, don't forget. So definitely pretty strong. This command center floating over. He might actually be thinking about taking this base. This is a takeable base in this matchup. Like, if you have this type of map control, you can take this base, and it turns into Protoss kind of running around the map or using arbiters oftentimes. In this case, it feels like Light is closing in, right? Like, BeSt doesn't have great unit rotation. You can see he's bringing his entire army down through his third base and up into the middle of the map like that. But Light is trying to chase that back a little bit. He has a few mines in here. This is a big army. So Light does have to be a little bit careful. Well, that is a lot of siege tanks being added in as well. No Psystorm in here. A couple Psystorms could really change the tide of this. He brings up 2 shuttles full of zealots, but they are a little bit late to the party. Again, if those had been there at the beginning, this would have looked way more one-sided. But even as is, enough zealots to completely push all of this back. Yeah, he sends SCVs to mine here, so definitely is thinking about taking that base. I think BeSt suddenly killing that many tanks is going to feel a lot better about this game. This area is still held. We'd love to maybe see a couple more turrets in here, to be honest. A lot of units over here to the left. I think as long as Light rallies all of his units out and plays a turtled position here, he can win this game. Like, this looks really good. Mining here and mining here is very strong. But, again, I think he has to play turtle. I think if he tries to attack, he's going to lose. Because he needs a good, strong position to absorb what BeSt is doing. Because BeSt doesn't have, like, a fallback of take top left, right? The center is choked up. Like, look at the map in quadrants, right? Ooh, hold on. We have a little Psystorm drop going off. GG is called by BeSt. Okay, well, ends a little bit more dramatically, or not dramatically. What's the opposite of that? Anticlimactically than I thought it would. But what I was going to mention here, guys, was if you look at the way that Light has cut up the map, right? So he basically owns everything from here, diagonally up to there, and diagonally here, right? So he owns like more than a fourth of the map, this is untakeable. And if BeSt tried to go up here, he was going to get in a lot of trouble. Light was going to be able to move across the map. Like if you already hold this and this to cut off this side of the map, that's all you need. It's not much. That is not much. This is part of the reason why Fighting Spirit's not a good map, right? It's like different portions of the game really favor different styles of play in different races and stuff. Like if you have a position like this, what is Protoss supposed to do? There's no real maneuvering. Anyways, yeah, hidden bases are good. Guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time.